Good morning and welcome back to Morning Markets from True Potential. Today we're going to be looking at what we're seeing from a global demand and disinflation perspective with the latest manufacturing survey data. Yesterday was the first business day of the month and we had a flurry of manufacturing survey data with the PMIs and ISMs from around the world. Really important because it's timely, it gives us detailed understanding of the different challenges that manufacturing businesses are facing. The most important of them all was the US ISM manufacturing data. Most important because the US is the biggest contributor to global economic growth. What we saw is further weakness within US manufacturing, contracting for the fifth month in a row. That's new orders, as consumer demand starts to pull back with continuing higher prices in terms of interest rates and inflation still at elevated levels. When we dig down into the different components, we saw employment continue to deteriorate, and that's perhaps a sign that what has been a very resilient labour market in the US for the last few years, perhaps there's a bit of softness going through there. When we look at the prices paid by manufacturers, they flipped back into negative territory after being positive the month before. That just builds on the narrative that perhaps we're seeing disinflation pressures continue to build. And whilst confidence remains relatively low about the future, if inflation continues to fall, that should be a positive going forward. If we contrast what we saw within Europe, we had the PMI data for Spain and Italy. Both reported very strongly better than expected. Spain seeing improvements in new orders growth, which is a real positive that there's demand there. Global demand is slightly softer, so when we looked at the export components, that showed a deterioration, but we saw improvements in the employment front and improvements on the supplier delivery times, which helps pull down the prices and it also builds into that disinflation narrative. Italy as well, better than expected, and better new orders growth, and again prices coming down, which is a real positive for consumers going forward and businesses going forward. If we contrast that with what we've seen from Germany, which is more of a larger manufacturing powerhouse within Europe, we saw softness over the last few weeks from their report. So there is still this challenge for global demand, and that's coming through with weakness in US and Germany manufacturing surveys, but we're still seeing some positives in Spain and Italy. That's everything from us today. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow.